We're going to continue our tour now by looking at the Home tab. And the Home tab is really where you have all the greatest hits. It's really where you're going to spend a lot of your time when you're working in PowerPoint. It's where your most common features and functionality are going to sit, the ones that you're using all the time. So starting from the left, you've got the clipboard with the format painter, the copy, cut, and paste, that sort of thing, which if you use other software programs, I'm sure you're familiar with. Then the next section here is called Slides, and this is pretty unique to PowerPoint. So here, when you want to create a new slide, and the slide is this area over here on the right-hand side where you can work and create things, and then over here on the left-hand side, we've got a thumbnail view of that. You can select new slide, and then it'll enable you to select from any templated layouts that exist in that particular file. And we're going to cover later how to create some of these layouts for yourself, some new templates and things like that, and how to modify existing templates. So let's say you just want a title and content slide, and it's going to add that to your deck here. And then you can also add section breaks or section headings. So let's say that I want to start a new section here. So I click in between these two slides and I say add a section. And I'm going to call that section 2. And you see there that it adds a little section divider. And you can collapse those sections by clicking on the little arrow and then expand them by clicking on the arrow again. So that's kind of nifty and pretty unique to PowerPoint. Then if I click on a text area, then you see that the font and paragraph stuff lights up, right? So if nothing is selected, if I click off of that, then it doesn't appear because there's nothing that you can format. But once you select something that has text, now that it gives you something, now that you have something to format, now you can go in and do things. So let's say that I type in some text here. Shall we play a game? All right, and so let's say I want to change the font type. I can do that. I can change the font size, increase, decrease, all these different things. I can make the letters appear wider apart. I can change the case. Let's make them all uppercase. I can highlight. I can change the font colors, all those different kinds of things. And if there's something you don't see here that you want to do to the fonts, click on that little down arrow on the bottom right, and it'll bring up the full font menu. And now you can do all sorts of different things. If I want to use small caps, for example, which is not by default listed on the home page, on the Home tab, I can do that. And if I want to do something else, I'm going to double strike through, I can do that. So anyway, something I want to also show you right now is the undo. So you can, up in the top of the screen, you can undo what you just did. You can also just hit Control-Z. I'm going to teach you shortcuts along the way because I use them all the time. There's no sense in clicking stuff and searching for stuff when you can just do it on your keyboard if you have. So Control-Z will undo the last thing that you just did, and Control-Y will redo it. So Control-Z and Control-Y. Try to remember those. So that's the fonts, right? And then we also have paragraphs. And so let's say I type in some stuff here. So to be or not to be, that is the question. You guys know the rest, right? Whether 'tis nobler to mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. Right. So paragraph. So now that I've got a couple of things there, a couple of bullets, I can go in and I can take advantage of some of the paragraph options. So I can change my bullets if I want to, right? I can customize bullets, go into the bullet, and I can change the color of the bullets. I can change the size of the bullets. I can change the shapes. I can go into actually customize them, and I can select from anything that I want. If I want to make this my bullet, click OK, and now it's created that bullet. Not sure why you would want to do that, but you could. So all sorts of things like that. I tend to use this quite a bit, right? So I'm indenting things, I'm centering stuff, I'm left justifying, that kind of thing. All the kinds of things that you can do in Microsoft Word. But then there are a couple of things that are unique here to PowerPoint. So one is text direction, so you can rotate text in all sorts of different ways. Sometimes that comes in handy. I can align text at the top, the middle, the bottom of that particular text box. And I can also do funky things with Smart Art. And we're going to cover Smart Art later. But let's say that I want to convert those 2 bullets into Smart Art. I just do that. And now it's converted them into Smart Art. So let me undo that. Show you again. Click on Convert to Smart Art. And then select which Smart Art you want. You want an arrow. You want this. You want that. Whatever you want. And it's now converted to Smart Art. So very quickly you can go from a bunch of bullets to something that is a visual form of communication, a more visual form of communication. So again, I'm going to undo that. And so that's it for paragraph. And again, if you don't see something that you want, click on that down arrow at the bottom, and now it gives you a broader array of different paragraph options and settings. Then we get into the really good stuff. So we've been playing around with text, but this drawing section here enables you to do things with shapes. So I can add shapes, and there are a bunch of different shapes that already exist in PowerPoint that I can take advantage of, and I can arrange them, and I can format them. I can do all sorts of different things with them. And I'm going to come back and cover that in more detail with you when we talk about adding the sizzle, right? Bringing the sizzle and adding shapes and graphics and things like that. We're going to spend a lot of time in those drawing options. So don't worry about that too much right now. Just know that they are there in the Home tab ribbon. And then the last piece here, don't use it. I don't personally use it as much, but the editing where you can do a find and replace for text, right? If there's certain things that you want to replace, or you want to replace fonts, you want to find some text, you can do that just like you can with other software. So that's but the majority of the time I spend either in the slide layout options, the fonts, the paragraphs, and the drawing. That's really where you're spending most of your time as you're building your deck. And you're going to find most of those options there in the Home tab ribbon.